why do people do this? Brandon Allen.
Well, we did this last year with Nate Selffield. Remember how the reviews with Nate Selffield? I'll read something. I retweeted this yesterday. It's wild how this stuff works. And I didn't even know Brandon Allen was on the roster.
Well, if I told you Brandon Allen is starting for the Los Angeles Rams against the Niners week 1, they're not. I think they play week 2. Week 2, wouldn't most Niner fans be like, W?
Yeah, automatically.
So then why are we saying, hey, he could be the number 2?
Well, the argument too, to me, is lazy. Well, he backed up Joe Burrow. I don't care. What does that mean? What does that mean? Seriously, what does that mean?
C.J. Beathard's backing up Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
Don't care.
Do not care. So, August 12th, 2022, there's a report from NewJersey.com. Ex-Eagles quarterback turning heads at 49ers training camp.
Heads.
This is August 12th of 2022. Nate Selffield is getting it done in training camp. The quarterback, who was previously with the Philadelphia Eagles, is making a name for himself at San Francisco 49ers training camp. And look at what he's been doing via the San Francisco Chronicles' Eric Branch. Check this out. He's 6'6" at 227. His downfield throws look easy, effortless. During one recent 3-practice stretch, Selffield completed 37 to 44 passes, and that doesn't include the past 2 practices when he has delivered perhaps the best touch passes of any 49ers quarterback this summer. And then, here's a quote from Shanahan. I think these last 3 days have probably been his best days that he's put together. So hopefully the trajectory keeps going up.
Okay.
Well, it did not go up because he got cut before week 1.
B. People who get paid to do that as their primary profession miss all the time on evaluations.
All the time.
All the time. Now, I'm not saying that beat writers, columnists, radio hosts can't miss, because believe me, we can miss, okay? I am one of them. We've all missed on something. But, can we pump the brakes on evaluating practice when it comes to no pads, no helmets? I mean, they're in shorts running around. When it comes to third stringers and fourth stringers throwing against air, does nuance not matter? We do, okay, for all the Little League coaches that are out there, Matt Nahigan, our boss who's answering calls right now, helping out behind the lines today. How many kids look great in a bullpen session when there's no batter in the box? And wow, little Timmy's throwing strikes the second a guy gets in the box, he can't find the zone.
Well, you get spring football practice, right? Shorts, jerseys. Guys are making plays all over the place, making picks. They look like practice All-Americans. Then the pads come on, and that kid is fourth string. Because the physical contact comes into play. And it's like, oh, boy, this is a different level here. So, whether or not we right, I'm wrong all the time. I mean, it happens. But to be able to write something like that on Nate Sudfeld. So we're doing this again with Brandon Allen. And the Brandon Allen stuff came out of nowhere. I guess it didn't come out of nowhere. I know where it came from. But, which is embarrassing. Your credibility is on the line now. Because now all of a sudden I'm saying to myself, boy, Brandon Allen? Backup for the 49ers? Or wait, he could start a couple games? We've done this with Nick Mullins. We've done this with C.J. Beathard.
Blaine Gabbert. Brian Hoyer. Remember the Blaine Gabbert?
Oh, I remember the Blaine Gabbert. He has the look of a franchise quarterback.
We did this with Sean Hill, Tim Rattay, Troy Smith, J.T. O'Sullivan. I mean, Niner fans. So you want to say deja vu.
So you got George Kittle saying that Trey Lance looks so much better than he did a season ago, and yet we still, for some reason, people want to say he looks like the 4th best quarterback in mini camps or the 3rd best quarterback in mini camps. It's just, let's stop. Let's stop pumping up mediocre quarterbacks. Nobody even knew Brandon Allen was. Do you even know what Brandon Allen looks like?
No. Most people thought we signed Kyle Allen, the guy that we intercepted at the 50-yard line in the Carolina game a couple of years ago, okay? Most people could have no idea. They didn't even know what team he played for until recently when he signed with the Niners. Again, Brandon Allen is starting for the Seahawks, against the Niners. Right. Most guys are like, W, we're kicking that guy's butt. B, who's a horrible practice player?
Jeff Garcia.
Jawan Jennings.
And Jawan Jennings.
When you watch Jawan Jennings at practice, for example, I was talking about Deebo Samuel. He doesn't really get separation. It's kind of big and lumbering, and the hands are kind of questionable. But then come game time, He makes plays. No, he's not the greatest.
No.
But, like, when you watch him in practice, you're like, he's kind of useless. You know what I mean? And then you see someone like McLeod, and you're like, wow, look at him running around all over there. Wow, look at the speed. And
then it gets in the
McLeod's
game.
kind of a niche guy.
I mean, he dropped the big pass against Atlanta last year. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. And so, like, what I'm saying is that there are certain guys who we can elevate in practice because, again, the situations and things like that. And other guys we downplay. Now, does practice matter? It matters more in football than any other sport. You know why? You practice 6 times to the one time you play, right? The other sports, it's the other way around. You have more games than you have practice.
But even in NFL practices during a week, especially during the season, you're not doing a lot. You're not doing a lot of hitting. Hitting is basically out.
No.
That's for most of the part. 2-a-days are done.
That's why August, to me, is the best part of the actual practice because it's hitting 11 on 11.
Right.
And that's where, to me, you can learn things.
Jeff Garcia was a terrible practice player. What people
notorious.
And you know who was good on game day?
You know who's good at practice? Notoriously? Oh, because he knew the playbook. Alex Smith.
Oh, I remember.
Remember? What was the guy? Kevin Lynch.
Kevin Lynch.
He used to write. This is
Kevin Lynch. I love Kevin Lynch. Shout out Kevin Lynch.
I do too. But I used to I'd run to the newspaper and he'd have like all the little column, all this stuff, and he'd be like, Alex Smith looked composed and in full control coming out of the huddle. And then come game day, he'd look like he had no idea what was happening.
Why do you think we overrate practice so much?
Because we care. And because because football.
Else.
Think about this.
Allen Iverson told us the classic quote was like, "Come on, man, I'm out here leading this franchise, and y'all want to sit here and talk about practice."
Well, I believe in practice because I got coach's blood in me.
Well, practice, I do believe makes you got to practice well, but we overhype practice.
Here's the thing:
you got to have good practices, but that don't mean a damn thing on game day.
Well,
there's practice players and there's game day players.
Well, that's where I'm going with this. Like, I have a coach is saying, so-and-so is a gamer. We got this kid DeJuan on our team.
Right.
You watch him in drills, and you're like, I don't know. Is he a second baseman? Is he a left fielder? And then come game day, he actually has instincts. The guy just plays. He's a baller, and he makes plays. And that happens at the professional level as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, are there guys like Kobe Bryant, like Steph Curry, who
Jordan.
take practice as serious? Yeah, and that's why they're the Jerry Rices of their sport.
Right.
Because they take practice as serious as they take games, and they're excellent in practice and in games. And those are the unicorns.
But some guys don't. I just think with the stats and the completions and the interceptions, we don't know what plays are being called. We don't know who the primary receiver is. We don't know if the coach is telling Trey Lance, for example, hey, I need you to look this way. I just want you to work on this thing right here.
Yes.
They may throw a pick on that play.
Yes.
Who knows?
I've
seen it happen in practice.
Yes.
You just want to see
Yes.
it. You just want to see it. So I think we overrate practice a lot. Now, I agree that you need to practice hard. I don't like players who don't take practice
Well, that's why I love Fred Warner.
But I think we overhype the numbers of practice.
No, that I agree
What a
with.
guy completes, what a guy
To me, it's
drops
context.
passes. Yeah.
Like, does a guy, for example, Fred Warner, when you go to 49er practice, doesn't Fred Warner stick out like, oh, yeah,
He balls out.
You're watching one of the elite players in the league.
By the way, 8 minutes. I almost forgot this, man, because we're rolling on 49ers football. Shameless shout-outs. Line them up right
I got
now.
a good one.
888-957-9570. I got a couple shameless shout-outs to give out this week. Shameless shout-outs coming up. This is your chance to shout out anybody you want to. Shout out your new graduate from high school, college graduates. Shout out your local liquor store. Cindy's Market out there on Hayes on Hayes Street. What's up, Cindy's Market? Tone and the rest of the crew. Shout out whoever you want to shout out. That's coming up in 7 minutes.
Like when you go to practice and you're watching Nick Bosa, he dominates.
Yeah.
And then you watch him on game day, and he dominates as well. Again, that's why he's one of the elite players in the league. Now, are there outliers? Like, again, you referenced Jeff Garcia. Absolutely. Absolutely. Where I'm going with this is that when you're looking at the stats of a third and fourth string rep and what they're doing and what they're going up against, like, most people can't even name the backups, let alone the third and fourth stringers at a practice at 49er camp. Now, when it's our first string going up against our first string, yeah, you can learn a lot from those things.
Let's go to Nick in Berkeley.
That's when I knew Charvarius Ward was legit.
Yeah, Nick in Berkeley, what's happening? You're on the roast.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Hey, I can't stand it, man. Look, all this talk about trading either Ayuk or Debo is just insanity. Okay, first of all, Shanahan, put yourself in the doghouse. This is professional sports, bro. The doghouse is for high school, not even for college, let alone the pros. What are you doing out there, like sourpussing and getting mad at players? Or I'm not going to throw you the ball because you're not doing something in practice. Dude, get over yourself. If your offense was so good, we should have been won a Super Bowl by now. And let me tell you something else, man. I'm like Philly. They were tight when we were playing them. When McCaffrey went with Matrix on him and scored that touchdown, the Philly crowd was tight, and then our quarterback got hurt. But other than that, I don't want to be hearing all this Philly talk and all that, because you know what? Our defense had him on lock for a minute. If it wasn't for Purdy getting hurt, we had him, dude. We had him at their house. And all we got to do is not lose one of these early season games in the first 2 games like we always do every year and set ourselves back to get home field advantage, because it's all about home field advantage. Shanahan, forget the primary receiver. If your offense is so good, there is no primary receiver because everybody's going to touch the ball, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but, you know, what is this fascination with scrubs? Nick Mullins? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Shaq, you get out there and throw some balls, man. I can do that. I mean, come on, man. Look, they just be drumming up stuff to talk about, man. Let's talk about offensive linemen blocking.
Right.
Let's talk about the Niners trying to get 6. And the gamer, you're supposed to be a gamer. You're a professional athlete. Ball out with blue chippers. We need blue chippers.
Well, I agree with that. I do have a problem when I see a year from now we're going to have to make a decision on Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. Why can't I keep them both?
Yeah,
I drafted these guys.
Yeah,
I groomed these guys. I helped develop these guys into playmakers. Why can't I keep them? Why can't I keep this core together? I develop a blue chip player. Why I just want that blue chip player just to say, hey, I want to reset and go develop another guy? No, I want established players. That's what we want in sports, especially in a game of football. So I'm not with trading Deebo Samuel or trading Brandon Ayuk. I want to build off of that. Like when Christian McCaffrey got traded here, people started saying, well, now you could trade Deebo Samuel. Why?
Yeah, no, you keep them all.
No, we traded for Christian McCaffrey to help Deebo Samuel.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm 100% with you.
Shameless shout-outs, by the way, in 4 minutes. 888-957-9570. Shameless shout-outs. You know the drill, folks. Shameless shout-outs. Shout-outs to whoever you want to do. Your mom, your dog, your cat. Who cares? Shout them out.
There is something to be said for certain guys. I'll use one in particular, Russell Wilson. I had heard through numerous people coming out of Seattle is that it's very difficult to practice with Russell Wilson because what he does in the game is so off script. Like he almost is like 3 different players. You know what I mean? There's the practice version of Russ, weirdo version of Russ, game day version of Russ, right? And so a lot of his offensive linemen and receivers grew frustrated because they would practice things at practice, and then the second the game comes, even if the initial play is open, he felt the need to have to freelance.
Right.
Big Ben Roethlisberger got criticized, I think, as his career went on with that, where people would say, why are you pump faking so much? Just let it rip. Right? So I do think that there are certain guys, again, these are the outliers. Tom Brady, meticulous practice player.
Yeah.
Would anyone deny that?
But we don't overrate their stats. We don't keep track of numbers. Why do we keep track of numbers all the time? And then people judge it. Oh, my God. Like, I'm not going to judge. Trey Lance is having good practice. It's great. I don't care what his completion percentage is.
Game day.
Yeah, game day. Is he going to be ready for game day? Can he play well in the game? Now, you got to practice well. You got to have good reps. You got to have rapport and timing with the wide receivers and the quarterbacks. But don't give me this stuff about, oh, man, he was 9 of 18, and now all of a sudden he's the 3rd best quarterback. How do you know?
But this is where I'm a little I'm like worried for Brock in the sense that, and I know last year he didn't have a chance to play with the ones and then got thrusted into the role, and then he was seamless. But if you look at the great connections in the league, they're working all offseason long on timing. And I keep going back to the Matt Stafford Cooper Kupp thing. Think of how many throws the two of them had that first year when Stafford went there. And what was it, like 300 throws a day? Before practice would even start. And I'm saying to myself, I'm worried that Brock's going to be behind this year. And not that he's done. I'm saying that I'm worried because I want to see the best version of him hit the ground running. And because of the arm injury and the nature of it, I don't know if it behooves him to be throwing that much to get into synergy with some of his receivers.
Well, the whole rush with Brock Purdy is you got to have him week 1. You got to have him week 2. Is Trey Lance that bad that if Brock Purdy missed 3 games, Trey Lance can't come in and help you go 2-1?
Or
is
Sam
he that
Darnold?
bad?
Is Kyle Shanahan so bad that he can't get either one of Darnold or Trey Lance to be ready for those games?
Look at Shanahan.
Why?
To me, the player's got to play well. It's the player. At the same time, Shanahan can dial up all the plays. The players have to execute.
But I don't know who's going to win that job. Darnold.
Whoever wins that. Well, if Sam Darnold, I'm concerned. It's got to be if Trey Lance doesn't win that second job, if he doesn't outperform Sam Darnold, then it's time to move off from Trey Lance.
Well,
that's just how I feel about that. I'm going
no
in.
matter
saying,
what, you're getting
no
rid
matter
of him.
What.
If he can't win the number 2 job, you're ready.
Come on, man. That's a failed pick.
Yeah.
That's a failed pick. You can't beat out Sam Darnold.
I think, if you can't, I mean,
That's a problem.
I'm kind of with
you.
you.
From him. Shameless shout out to 1 minute, 888-957-9570. Read your text. YouTube, of course. Shout out to the Comcast business text line as well. Twitch and YouTube. Trey Lance, is he? Because we watched him against Houston. He looked like a comparable quarterback. We watched him against Arizona. Erratic a little early, made some plays with his legs, made some good throws, had some turnovers. Remember that game, his first ever start, they couldn't convert on fourth down. They were moving the ball all day long against Arizona. They couldn't convert fourth downs. Then you look at Chicago. That game was theirs. They dominated that game for mostly 3 quarters. Chicago made one play, flipped the entire game. Defense fell apart.
Dante Pettis.
Dante Pettis. So
I still can't believe he made that play.
So is Trey Lance that bad in which you want to rush back Brock Purdy? Brock Purdy misses 3 games. It's not the end of the world to me. You could still go 2-1 with Trey Lance.
Yeah, but I think that, we keep going, the Niners are rushing. I don't know if the Niners are rushing him, but.
Is it Brock Purdy because he knows that if Trey Lance plays well, he might not get that job back?
I mean, it's the NFL. It's not for long. Trent Green thought he had a job. You know what I mean? A lot of guys think that they have opportunities and jobs, and then you look up and it's no longer the case. I mean, Carson Wentz. Think about Carson Wentz. If he never goes down, where's Carson Wentz at?
Yeah.
Think of how many stops his career has had since. I mean, I think we've forgotten, but he was awesome that year.
He was awesome, but he had a chance to continue to win that job, and it just wasn't the same.
But injuries happen. Injuries happen and derail people's careers.
Mm-hmm. Let's get the shameless shout-outs here on the Morning Rush.
Yeah, I've got a good one.